if you've seen my 2026 most anticipated movies of the year, you would know that The Bride was somewhere, I think, around the 7 to 8 range for this year. I was super excited for it. You have Maggie Gyllenhaal returning to direct her second ever movie. You have Jessie Buckley, who has been nominated for so many awards this year for Hamnet. Christian Bale, who's just a phenomenal actor. And then you have so many other pieces just, on the side of this movie. You have Annette Bening, Jake Gyllenhaal, who's not much in this movie, Penelope Cruz, Peter Sarsgaard. I was looking forward to this movie so much, mostly because of the cast, but I was really curious to see what Maggie Gyllenhaal is capable of doing. And with how good Frankenstein was last year, I was really hoping we'd get something even close, or somewhat close to as good as I thought Frankenstein was, which is, I gave it a 9 out of 10. And to be honest, maybe on a rewatch, The Bride might drop to a 7, but I really did enjoy my, first viewing of The Bride. I do give it an 8 out of 10. This was a pretty fun watch. I'm not gonna lie, during the first 30, 40 minutes of this movie, I was telling myself, is this just a Joker clone? Is this just a Taxi Driver clone? And then the movie kept going and going and going. And yeah, this is just if Joker 1 and Joker 2 had a baby together, and took all the bad parts out of Joker 2, but it kept all the bad stuff from Joker 1, and it just made a baby. And then The Bride came out, and I know everybody's saying this, and it's a repeating point, unfortunately, because I sat down and I thought that, and I think it's unfair. I wanted to get that out first, but I couldn't record this video till today. So whatever. But I really do enjoy The Bride. I think Christian Bale is fucking phenomenal in this movie. And first off, acting aside, I think the makeup is fantastic in this movie. I think it'll get some sort of nominee later next year for whatever award shows are coming out, whether it's for costuming or makeup. I think everyone just looks really, really great in this movie. But yeah, Christian Bale specifically as Frankenstein looks fantastic. I really like how they went with the more old-fashioned look. Something I said in my Frankenstein review was I loved how much Jacob Elordi looked, and he felt more like a swamp creature rather than Frankenstein. But it's always nice to see the classic Frankenstein look back on the screen. He has the stitches across his forehead, his neck. His face is all just fucked up. He has a crooked nose, and he's just wearing this. I love the attire he's wearing. He feels like he's trying so hard to be more astute and fancy. I just really love their approach to Frankenstein in this movie. He does have his freak out rage moments, and he's so blissful when he gets so angry, and he's like, yes, fuck yes, I love this. I love destroying things. And he sees Jessie Buckley, or the bride, shooting someone or breaking a window or something like that, and he's just so in such joy, and he goes back to like his caveman roots of actually being a monster, rather than him slowly turning more and more into a human in this movie. I really do appreciate that. And Jessie Buckley is fantastic. I was sort of worried when the movie started and you get her backstory from before she turns into the bride, that we were going to get so much nagging bullshit out of her, and I thought her character wasn't going to be as much fun as it actually turned out to be. The opening sequence with her doing the undercover work and her having those flashbacks, or her talking to herself, I just wasn't digging it, and I was really scared that the movie was going to continue to pester us with that throughout the entire thing. And while it does show up like maybe 3, maybe 4 times throughout the rest of the movie, it's not as long and it's not as annoying. And instead, you get these outbursts out of Jessie Buckley, who turns into the other woman she has in her head, and I appreciate that much more. It takes you less out of the world, and it just makes her character much more enjoyable. She's doing all those quotes, and every time Frank says some word or a line, she's just repeating it and then building off of it, and then rhyming with it, and just finding sentences that fit the word. I really enjoyed it. I think she was great. Someone I really wish was more in this movie and kind of took over Penelope Cruz's role was Annette Bening. I think she was fantastic. I really was hoping, with how the whole bride resurrection scene happened, we were going to get a lot more in that Benning. Of course, we get the dinner scene with her, but other than that, she really is not in much of the movie until the final act, which is really unfortunate because I think she was fantastic in this. And, uh, we get her in the beginning, the dinner scene happens, then they both run off, and she's kind of just not in it at all. And I really wanted her to be in this a lot more. Maybe she should have went looking for them. Maybe she should have done something to help search for them. I'm really not sure, but Annette Bening was fantastic in this, and we sadly do not get enough of her. I think she's even great in the final act, but even then she's not in it too much because we're so focused on the adventure of Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley getting back to the doctor's office rather than, Annette Bening helping them, which, she does towards the end of the movie. Penelope Cruz is pretty okay in this. I don't think it's her fault. Uh, Even though I think she takes up more screen time than Annette Bening, she also just feels sort of sidelined, and I think that's okay when you have two amazing actors and Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley as your main leads, and their characters are just so outgoing and doing so much fun stuff throughout this movie. You kind of just can't have Penelope Cruz and uh, why am I zoning out? Oh well, you just can't have her and the other detective taking up so much screen time to take away from these two having a fucking blast. And I think it's okay. I really just wish we got more Annette Bening in this movie. She was really, really great, and she could have got something later on as a great supporting piece, but it's just going to get pushed to the side for how much Penelope Cruz was in this movie. But all in all, I think this movie looks great. It's very fun. It does feel very Joker-esque, unfortunately, which is probably pushing a lot of people away. There were so many negative reviews for this movie on release, and I couldn't avoid seeing that. Everywhere on Twitter, on Reddit, 46% here, and then people giving it, 2 out of 10s, 3 out of 10s there, and I just left thinking, how are we hating on this? It's just so much fun. You have two actors giving such great performances, and the side cast is doing a great job as well. And you know, for how much this newer generation cares about these smaller themes in movies being, pushed in there, and we have so much with that with women's sexual harassment and abuse in this movie. It feels like so many people just pushed that to the side and completely forgot it even is in this movie. You have the whole police scene with Jessie Buckley and the two cops, or I guess it's rather just one cop. Uh, you have the scene in the first act with the club, and she's getting groped, and they're trying to kidnap her and probably rape her. I just don't know how nobody's talking about that part of this movie. Yes, you have so much of their adventure together and them finding Jake Gyllenhaal in the giant banquet hall, and their relationship building up throughout this movie, but why not talk about that? And they actually showed it off pretty damn well. I'm not too sure. I'm really not too sure. But I did enjoy The Bride. If you haven't seen it and you're watching this review for some reason, I do recommend it. It is one of my favorite movies this year. I'm not sure where I'm putting it just yet, but just because there hasn't been too much this year, I guess is just forced to be in my top 10. So check out The Bride if you haven't. Not as good as Frankenstein to me, but it's still a very good, fun telling of the Frankenstein and the Bride story.